Hi guys, I am doing so great. I've just cranked out like two different jobs worth of content and responsibilities. So just an average day in an entrepreneur slash full-time employee's life.
Wow, work. You better work, Vanessa. You're working with an O and just WRK. You're doing both.
I am. I am ethnically Mexican American, and we got incredible work ethic. So I hope to share that with you today.
Okay, teach me how I'm gonna get my first million everything because I want
Yes. Same.
it.
So we are the same person. But
Great.
quick intro, guys.
Yeah.
Hi,
I'm here
I'm
if you need me. I'm gonna hang out in the background, but at any point, you just let me know. And friends, keep your comments flowing. I'm sure Vanessa would love to hear from you and might have some time at the end to touch on that. All right, Vanessa, I hand the torch to you.
I appreciate it. And I actually can't see the chat, so please let me know if something interesting comes up,
I got
because
you.
I love hearing other people's thoughts, feelings, and bitter, angry complaints. So hi, everyone. I'm Vanessa Wachtmeister. That is my married name. My maiden name is Menchaca. I am a proud Mexican-American woman. And for the last 11 years, I've been working and living abroad in China, the United Kingdom, and now Germany, which is where I am based. I am a full-time tech worker for Expedia Group. I'm a senior product manager. And then in my spare time, I am a business owner. I own Wander Onwards, which started off as a travel blog when I moved to China at 22 by myself with zero plans. And really, it was supposed to just let my mom know I was alive, but it blew up into a huge community and business. We have 700,000 followers across our platforms. We have over 10,000 active users. And it's just been really incredible to be a tech founder, to be an entrepreneur, and to build like full technology that thousands of our partners use around the world. So if any of this sounds interesting to you, on my channels, I do educational materials, so you can find out more about investing, tech, moving abroad, interviewing, LinkedIn SEO, etc. I do coaching, so you can be part of my Move Abroad Masterclass, which focuses on finding meaningful work and education opportunities abroad. And then lastly, inspiration. A lot of people don't know what's possible in this like new age of tech and AI, and especially what's possible for like a young female professional in the tech space. And so I want to show you what I'm doing, both the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so there is very little filter on my experience in the world, and I think it makes it that much more fun. So today we're going to be talking about your first million, what that means to me, and then we're going to segment it. So 1 million users, if you're someone that deals with this type of metric, 1 million in sales, because money talks and we can never ignore the power that sales and income gives us as professionals. And then finally, I would be remiss if I did not try to save all of you and prepare for retirement yesterday. I am I'm very, very passionate about personal finance and preparing for retirement. So now I get to pass on that information to y'all. I did want to add a disclaimer. This is for educational purposes only. We will be talking a little bit about investments, and I just want to emphasize that this is not financial, legal, or immigration advice. So please do consult a professional before you make any investments. So let's get into it. This was my entrepreneur founders retreat in Thailand, where I got sponsored to go in Thailand for 3 weeks. There are some serious benefits to being a travel blogger, I will say that. So let's start with 1 million users. So I actually stole this from Lenny's newsletter. You can subscribe for free. And he does like a digital download every week about what's going on in the tech space, what's new, who's doing what IPs or IPOs are happening. And so I pulled this infographic from his website because I think when we're thinking about entrepreneurship and about product management and scaling new products, it's really, really intimidating to think about where are these new users going to come. When I started Wander Onwards, I had like maybe 4 or 5 people a week on my website. And then I hired an SEO strategist, and together we were able to pull in over 60,000 active users on my site every month, which then translates into about $3,500 of passive income from that site between ads and affiliate links. And so I cannot emphasize enough, when you're just starting a business, a product, or you're trying to improve an existing product, here are some of the ways that you can unconventionally start to drum up interest, business, and users. So I think offline is still a great space for people to get into. Conferences like this, public events with like-minded folks. I actually have a NFC tag that I programmed. So it's the sticker back here. For 0.02 cents, I bought a couple of these. And then when I go to public events, I can put the NFC tag in front of my phone. Let me do it, a live demo for y'all. So you do that, and then it launches my business and site, so people can find out more information about me, my projects, and my business on the social media platform that appeals to them. And so it's little creative things like this that make you stand out as an entrepreneur and a professional. Obviously, there's the online aspect as well. And like myself in my pajamas, I was able to scale my business to 700,000 followers across our social media platform. And so I actually got my full-time job at Expedia because of that incredible work. They saw what I could do in my pajamas, and they were like, give this young woman a budget and let her just do her thing. And I feel very grateful that Expedia and my superiors feel confident in my work, that I truly get to pick and choose what I want to pursue. And I jump out of bed every morning because I feel so supportive. 3 and 4, like, don't be shameless, invite your friends, create a feeling of FOMO, like people want to be in your space, want to be in your product. That is actually going to take you a lot farther than you might think, because people want to see people they like and trust and believe in win. When I was trying to get monetized in YouTube, I put a bunch of blasts out saying, hey, please, if you want to support me and have $0 to do that, the thing you could do to support me is watch my YouTube channel, like help me get to monetization. And that same day, we had hundreds and hundreds of streams, and that's how we were able to monetize the Wander Onwards channel. Leveraging influencers, press, and building a community, I think, is super, super underrated. When you're launching a new product, you want to first get that feedback loop where people are actively telling you what they need and what can be done better. And so on my products that I build for Expedia, we have a feedback loop that's automated. So I get the sentiment, negative, positive, neutral. I get written feedback if there's an open text space, and I can follow up with people for more information. Participating in group scenarios and communities like this also sets you up to get press. So press is nice to have, but not critical. I try not to judge my self-worth and my business's self-worth on press, but it definitely helps get the ball rolling when it comes to attracting your first million users. So that is from the product side. Let's talk about the sales side, because if you don't get sales, that beautiful million user product is dead in the water, friends. Now, a lot of people get really intimidated by the idea of 1 million sales. And actually, I think it helps to break it down into chunks of different income opportunities. So you'll see in my slide, to make 1 million in sales, you can do a smaller value product, such as $200, and sell it to 5,000 people, excuse me. Or if you have a larger value product, like consulting services, workshops, annual fees for certain technologies, you only need to sell to 250 people to break your 1 million sales goal. Now, with that in mind, we can play with the different income sources that we have and choose to invest in both low value and high value products to eventually meet that 1 million in the middle. in the last 5 years, my brain in my pajamas with my hair in a messy ponytail and no makeup, I've hit $1 million in sales. And this is not including with Expedia. And so to know that people are willing to pay for $1 million for what's in my brain is truly wild to me. I could not believe this when I first started my journey 10 years ago. And even the best big tech companies know that multiple streams of income is the way to go. So on the bottom left, where you see the corporate graphic, you'll see that Apple and Microsoft really diversify how they make their income. And that's what makes them such strong and stable companies. Alphabet goes a little bit up and down and all around. And if we treat ourselves as like tech companies, we know that as soon as we lose our full-time job, most people are not going to be able to recover from that experience until they find a new job. I actually made a video on my Instagram, Can I Afford to Be Laid Off? Where I calculated all of the income that I make from my passive income streams. And I concluded that, yes, I could afford to be laid off and all of my basic requirements and expenses would be covered. However, I don't want to be laid off. I work really, really hard and I want to continue to live this soft life that I've created for myself now that I am a little bit more mature and comfortable in my space. But it's just something always to think about, diversifying your income, changing the way that you attract money and sales. And I put a secondary infographic on the right because I always want to encourage my clients and supporters to think about their own personal income situation as if they were a company. So there are 7 different income streams as an example in the infographic. Most people probably have number 3, earned income, but I want you to really dig deep and reflect on what other streams of income that you can possibly have. I actually have 12 of them because I have ADHD and I have to always be doing something with my hands. So in addition to my full-time job, I have my website that makes passive income on ads. I have affiliate links. I have a monetized YouTube and TikTok. I have my workshops. I have my Move Abroad Masterclass. I sell low-cost digital products such as debt smashing templates or budgeting templates. I do consulting for other tech firms. I do sponsored posts on my social media platforms. You can kind of get how I'm attracting additional income. And part of the reason I started that journey was because I was $130,000 in student loan debt. And as someone working in the European market, my initial first salary of £33,000 a year was not going to make a dent in that. So as I really looked hard in the mirror, I had to figure out ways to make additional income to pay off the principal, knock out that interest, and I was able to pay off all $130,000 in about 6 years. So the power of thinking in numbers, in sales, in financial metrics, not only benefits you at your full-time job, but also in your personal life, which leads me seamlessly into the next slide, 1 million in the bank. I'm going to save everyone here. Only because when more women and people of diverse backgrounds have money, wealth, and can stand up on their own, we can make decisions for ourselves at a place of power and not at a place of weakness or scarcity. And so I think it's pretty obvious to most of us that Social Security, government pensions, whatever your country uses as a system for retirement, that is not going to be enough to sustain a comfortable lifestyle or even a scraping by the poverty line. With inflation at an average of 2% per year, I think last year was 10% in some places. We really need to be planning together how we are going to be self-sustaining because no one is going to save us. So we're going to be our own heroes today. So there's a movement out there called the FIRE movement. it is defined as financial independence, retire early. But really, I interpret it to be a movement that gives people autonomy over their own personal finances and destiny. And so some of the dialogue in the FIRE movement is like very budget, like eat beans and rice every single day until you're financially independent or out of debt. For me, I used it as a way to start preparing for retirement, and I was able to invest about $200,000 on my own as a young woman working in the workforce. And as I continue to contribute to my investments, I'm really going for the 4% rule, where I can pull 4% from my investment portfolio every year, and the money will not run out before I drop dead on the floor, and probably from overworking. But also I want to pass on that generational wealth to the next generation, because I have been pretty reliant on myself. Some may say hyper independent, but I don't know if I want that for the next gen. And I can make the decisions that I need to make to create an environment for whoever is next in line to have a more comfortable, easy, soft life, and like really really drive their motivations from a place of peace versus a place of scarcity, which historically might have been me, which would explain the 12 sources of income. If you are interested in finding out more about like personal finance and retiring early, I have plenty of articles on my website, wanderonwards.co. Also, you can do your own research on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, blah, blah. The idea here is we want to invest a portion of your income that can grow and grow and grow, preferably in tax-advantaged accounts. And by the time you hit retirement age, you will have a portfolio of wealth that can generate livable income for you in your older age. I mentioned in tax-advantaged accounts specifically because in the United States and here in Germany, there are certain accounts that you can put money into, and the government will actually reward you for that by either delaying how it is taxed, or you'll pay all of the tax up front and then nothing in the future. Two great examples of that is your 401k and a Roth IRA. So the 401k in the United States, the government will allow you to contribute pre-tax income into that account. And then once you start withdrawing as a retired person, then you will be taxed on that income. Very often, if you're retired, your normal income will drop, and so it won't be such a heavy tax burden on you. The second option is a Roth IRA. Now, this is after-tax income that you contribute to an account, and then the money in that account grows and grows and grows. And once you're eligible to withdraw money from that account, the government says, all right, you've already paid tax on that. This is a tax-advantaged account. We won't tax you on that income. There are some penalties if you withdraw early. So consult a financial advisor, check out my blog for more information. But by leveraging accounts, cash, real estate, investments of your own, you'll be able to create a formula that's right for you and to ensure that you are comfortable in your retirement age. So for me, I am targeting retirement at 50. So I need to race to get all of my money into a portfolio before I decide to retire. I want to retire that early because I do not dream of labor. This is not my fairy princess idea of working for someone else until I die. So I need to make sure that my portfolio can withstand my 4% rule, and then the real fun begins, because I'll be a little unhinged and financially independent and can do whatever I want after that. So I hope that was an interesting presentation for everyone, and maybe inspired some things that you had not thought of before. I have a lot of different topics that I like to cover because I'm a multi-hyphenated woman. I'm sure all of you are as well. But the fact is, there are so many different dynamic parts of my personality. I want to just share it with everyone all the time. And so I encourage you to come on down and share all of your interests and hopes and dreams with me as well, because I love doing this community work and I love spreading the message about what I'm working on, both the good, the bad, and the ugly. So that is my spiel.
Vanessa, my jaw has been dropped for 20 minutes. It's a good thing I was on mute because I was like, what? Like I was like squelching over here. I am blown away. I almost came off mute a couple of times. I'm like, no, let her do her thing. Just to like be like, are you kidding me?
I appreciate that. I do things 100% or not at all.
I mean, I identify so much like also ADHD, late diagnoses for me,
Same.
like couple within the past year too. I was like, how come it's one of those things where it's like everybody knew except for me. They were like, when I tell them, they're like, oh yeah, of course. I was like, cool, thanks.
Yeah, my parents have been like, we always knew you were different, but we didn't have any words to put that with.
Yeah, it's true. Like, and for me, like, I grew up in like the 90s, I was born in the
Same.
80s. So like, okay. So the 90s, there was like overdiagnoses, but also like really very little understanding of how the brain worked in these ways. So it was
Yeah.
a weird time to like grow up with these things. Now it's like I'm happy for the current generation to be able to like understand that their brain might work a certain way.
Mhm.
And I love what you were saying about you don't want like the next generation to like be grinding until the end, right? And like you're
100%.
empowering them with all of these tools that you have done on your own. And now you're giving back, you're sharing here, you have 12 different streams of information and income. It's just like so mind blowing. Like, where did you learn to do all of this? How are you doing it? I mean, I know
Yeah.
how you're doing it now, but like, because you told me, but like, where did you like figure all of this out?
Trial and error. I have pretty much been on my own since I left the US. And so it was either make money and support myself abroad or come home on credit card debt because my parents couldn't afford to support me.
Totally.
And I
Credit
am
card debt
so
and student loan debt.
yes, exactly. Fortunately, my pride is stronger than anything else. And
Mm,
I told my mom, like, I'm not coming home. I know I have negative $5,000 on my credit card right now, but I can't stand the idea of coming home with my tail between my legs after making
right.
such a big deal about moving abroad by myself. And then
Mm,
every year you get better. Every year you learn something new. Every year
yeah.
you compound on the experience that you have. And I would encourage everyone here, take risks and fall flat on your face, and try to do it as publicly as possible because you would be surprised about what a motivator that is to not fail. And so now I'm actually building a generative AI experience for my full-time employer. I have no idea what I'm doing, but thank you to YouTube University, I will figure it out. And then we're going to launch it to senior leadership and see how it goes.
I love it. I am deep in the AI space, so I also perked up when you started talking about that because last May, it was like a couple months after GPT-4 launched, and some friends were like, you need to go play with this. I was like, oh, okay, I know about ChatGPT. And then I was like, oh boy, okay, the world is changing now, and I have not come out of the rabbit hole since.
Good.
It's and like you were saying, like what's so great about it is it can make a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, um, punch above our weight, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like we have all of these people working for us because of the automations. Some people call them agents, some people call them workflows, like all this different stuff. You have all these things working with you, and we can do way more and be way more productive and scale like never before.
Totally. And that's part of the reason why I've been able to keep up with my full-time tech job and
Mm,
my business because I really focused on automation. And so I have about 4 freelancers that like keep the lights on and the doors open for me while I'm doing my full-time job. But I didn't build all of these things and run myself ragged to do that for the rest of my life.
Right.
So I am leaving on a 3-week trip through the Middle East. You can catch your girl in Abu Dhabi. And all of my business is going to be self-sustaining in the universe. And I can just enjoy my partnerships and my adventures while my business is still making money for me.
Amazing. I mean, that's the dream, right? That's the dream.
Yeah, it only took me 10 years to figure it out.
Hey, that's a success. Like you said, like every step we learn and making those. I love what you said, like fail as publicly as possible. Like that is the
Mm,
most counterintuitive piece of advice probably that most people would hear today. But
mm,
you're right, it's a motivator and strong and wrong, right? Like take
yes,
chances and we don't know until we try.
100%. I would also encourage people to be their most authentic version of themselves in public
Hmm.
spaces,
Hmm.
because it's almost like a filter. So the people who hate me effing hate me, and they are in the back of the room because they can't even get into the club. And the
Right.
people who love and believe in me will bat for me 100 times out of 100 times. And so I know my leadership thinks I'm a little bit quirky, as they
Hmm.
said.
Yep.
But I continue to get the best projects. I've been promoted twice in the last 2 years. I get to be my whole authentic, weird, kooky ADHD self, and people that love me for that. And
Mm.
it's fantastic to know exactly who your supporters are and who your enemies are very easily.
Totally. And as I was saying earlier, I'm a recovering people pleaser, and not everyone's gonna like me, and that's
Yes,
okay.
yes, agreed,
I don't know if I'll ever be recovered, but progress, not perfection, a little bit more every day. And
agreed.
yeah, right. And like that's the gift of like when we show up as our, as close to our authentic selves as we can. Earlier, Sienna and I were talking about psychological safety when that's appropriate to show different sides of ourselves. But when we're able to do that with confidence, people that are attracted to it are like so attracted to it because they're like, oh my gosh, she's real. Like Vanessa is not making stuff up. I can trust her because she's being vulnerable. She's showing me who she is.
Exactly, exactly. Don't be afraid, guys. You're doing a disservice to yourself if you're not your authentic self, because you attract people that you want to be around. And
Mm,
so that was when my second life began.
mm. When we only have 30 seconds left, but when was that turning point? When did you go like, I'm gonna go this way?
The turning point was the pandemic. And since I
Mm,
work in travel tech, it was do or die, since I perceived my job to be on the chopping block.
right.
And as an immigrant, I have that immigrant fear in my heart and soul. And so I decided to just block out any like negative thoughts, give it a try. And my main core product, the Move Abroad Masterclass, which focuses on like career opportunities abroad, that has
Hmm.
brought in over 200K for me as like just someone who like moved abroad. And then I was like, let me share it with other people. And so that was really the turning point for me as an entrepreneur, for people to buy into what I do.
Yeah, amazing. So with all of your places that you're online, where shall we start? Where shall we begin to start our journey with Vanessa?
Yeah, follow me on Instagram, Wander, Wander, onwards. And I love reading DMs, comments. I make silly videos about money, career stuff, travel. So that's the best place to reach me.
Amazing. Vanessa, this has been so wonderful. Thank you for sharing your time with us. I will
Thanks
be
so much for
following
having
you on
me.
all the things.
I appreciate that. Bye, everyone.
All right, bye now. Take care.